coup d'etat. Now to our big story of the day. INEC has announced Saturday, 8th November 2025 as the date for the next governorship election in Anambra State. The commission says the party primaries would be held in the state from 20th March 2025 to 10th of April 2025. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu announced this on Thursday at the 4th regular quarterly consultative meeting with political parties at the Commission's headquarters in Abuja. He said the date was chosen in compliance with Section 28, subsection 1 of the Electoral Act of 2022, which required INEC to issue the notice for elections not later than 360 days before the date of the election. And in Ondo State, the Commission is working in earnest to deliver a credible election. Collection of permanent voter cards begins today, 17th to 21st of October 2024. The cards, we understand, will be available for collection at 8 of the 203 wards across the state. Thereafter, the cards will be available for collection in 18 local government area offices in the state for 1 week. That's between 23rd to 29th of October 2024. The centers will be open to citizens between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. daily, and that's according to INEC. But how are residents and political parties warming up for the November 16th election, and how is the electoral umpire faring? I'm joined now by political analyst Abubakar Issa, live from our Abuja studio. Mr. Issa, thank you so much for talking to us. We've seen how these staggered elections present INEC with opportunities of improvement before the big one. But how much of that have we seen with subsequent elections? The commissioner, for instance, the commission, for instance, was largely criticized for allegations of malpractice in the just concluded Edo State election. We had the PDP candidate on TVC News last night talking about how he has evidence of electoral malpractice in that exercise. Talk to us about the perception of INEC, even with all of these staggered elections.
Thank you. Politicians, it has become the tradition of all politicians in this country that after the outcome of elections are announced, the losers always disagree. But this does not mean that INEC is doing a perfect job. INEC needs to up its ante so that we can have a better elections, especially with the use of technology, that we can surmount the challenges that are being faced right now with elections in the country. We want to encourage INEC to continue to do the right thing so that Nigeria can move forward.
Appears to be a direct relationship between people's perception of INEC's integrity and their trust in the process and even in election exercise entirely. You saw the aftermath of the 2023 general election and all the other elections we've had thus far. What is missing with the Commission's conduct of the exercise? What do you consider the bane of people's perception of INEC over the years?
Yes, the concern generally from the last election of 2023 and the recent, the just concluded elections in Edo State, the concern has been that elections results are not transmitted electronically, that the use of beavers should be highly encouraged, and it should serve as a basis for the acceptance or otherwise of our elections. People generally, from what we have heard and what we have seen, they believe that beavers, the use of beavers will be able to help us and will be able to give credibility to elections in Nigeria. So I want to seriously encourage and suggest to INEC that everything should be put in place so that they can restore the belief of the people in elections in Nigeria. Because if the results are not transmitted, it cast doubt because people can change election results along the way. So, but once it is transmitted from the polling unit, as at when elections, the results are counted, transmit the elections. So, in that case, nobody will be able to change the result again. This has been the major concern of Nigerians.
Issue has been with the integrity of INEC officials. You recall that in Edo election, there were concerns about the affiliation of the resident electoral commissioner with a particular minister and, the fact that he had worked with him as a commissioner and whether or not that would not impact on his decision on election day. INEC declined the request of redeploying him. Just this week, during its campaign flag-off, the PDP has also called for the redeployment of the resident electoral commissioner in Ondo State. What do you think should be the commission's reaction to concerns like this?
The commission needs to make Nigerians to have confidence in all of its activities, especially in the case of Edo State. Because of the affiliation, the alleged affiliation of the resident electoral commissioner and the minister for the FCT, it was something that INEC should have redeployed. You don't give people the chance to doubt your credibility. It affects the outcome of the election. So once any political party is not comfortable based on clear allegations that can be substantiated, then what INEC needs to do is to redeploy, because you have more hands in INEC that can do the job, so that at the end of the day, you don't give the party the chance to cast doubt in the outcome of the elections. So I think INEC needs to look at it very well, so that people can have confidence in the outcome of the elections in Nigeria, because the elections, the outcome will determine whatever happens after the results are declared.
I remember having a conversation with the rec in Edo at the time, and he mentioned that, yes, I am Wiki's cousin, but that doesn't stop me from working for INEC, and that he's a professor in his own right who has his integrity to protect. And it went on by saying there was no provision within the law that requires that he doesn't work for INEC based on his affiliation with a politician. We're going to talk about how this is impacting the Ondo election, especially with concerns raised with the resident electoral commissioner. But that will be after this break. Stay with us, everyone. How is INEC preparing to ahead of the Ondo State governorship election next month, especially with concerns that have now been raised by the People's Democratic Party with the integrity of its resident electoral commissioner? Abubakar Isa, political analyst, is live with me. He joins us live from our Abuja studio. Thank you for staying the course on the program. PDP is talking about the origin of the woman in question, citing it as a cause for concern. I had the publicity secretary of PDP in Ondo on the show yesterday, saying that they have evidence that the woman is meeting with the Ondo State governor, even though he couldn't prove it beyond that statement yesterday. How critical are these allegations, especially when you hear the Oyo State governor saying that they intend to see this to some logical conclusion?
It is laughable. Which faction of the PDP is making the allegation? Because we have different factions. Is it the faction of the Damaguri, or which faction? As it stands, you see, I was more concerned about the Edo election. But in the case of Ondo State, there's actually not going to, there's not going to be any difficulty in Mr. Lucky emerging victoriously as the winner. And I tell you this, the law does not allow Mr. Lucky to be sworn in 2 times again. He can only be sworn in for another term. And this, based on my understanding of politicians in this country, it is politically expedient for them to support Mr. Lucky to emerge as the next governor of Ondo State, because that will afford them the opportunity of contesting the next 4 years. Let me tell you this. Take this from me, that all the political parties in Ondo State are indirectly supporting Mr. Lucky, because they know that in the next 4 years, they will be able to contest the election and then emerge victoriously if they do their homework very well. But if Mr. Agbola of PDP, who is another major contender for the position of governor of Ondo State, emerges, he will stay there for another 8 years. One thing we need to understand also is that in Ondo State, Mr. Lucky is actually lucky that he comes from the senatorial zone that is expected to produce the next governor of Ondo State. And he has served as deputy governor and then become the governor of Ondo State, meaning he has been sworn in once, and the next election now he will be sworn in the second term. If he is sworn in the second term, in the next 4 years, any other politician will be able to come out and contest. So this allegation.
But if you turn the coin, there is what they call the alleged tenure concerns, which is what you just talked about. The question of whether Governor Aiyedatiwa's unique situation, like you have mentioned, would impact on the opportunity of the people of Ilaje of having an 8-year tenure, bearing in mind that the PDP candidate is also from the same zone. So for the same reason you have mentioned is why the PDP is saying they even stand a better chance to win this election, because they can tell the people that, you know what, we'll give you 2 terms, contrary to the incumbent governor who only has a chance to be sworn in one more time.
No, that is also to the advantage of the governor of Ondo State at the moment, because his people, after he served the next term of 4 years, his people can also put up argument that yes, no, our son did only 4 years, so we need to also complete our term of office, and then somebody from his own can also contest again, and if he's popular, he can still win. So in all situations, everything favors Mr. Lucky, and his name is Lucky, and he's actually very lucky. So there's nothing for anybody to say. In the case of Ondo State, it is going to be a ceremony. Don't forget that the governor of Ondo State is of APC, and the APC at the moment has the most politically savvy leader of the party, which is Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, who understands the game very well, and he has not lost any election since his emergence as national chairman of the All Progressives Congress. You cannot take away strategy from elections. And the man at the helm of affairs of the political party of the governor of Ondo State, Dr. Umar Abdullahi Ganduje, is a man that understands the game very well. And that's why most people say that, yes, whatever you can say about the president and commander-in-chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, you can say, but you can never take away the fact that he is the most politically intelligent leader you have in the country. And that was why he picked somebody who understands the game, supported him
very
chairman. So,
very interesting observation and school of thought. When you said he had not lost an election, I was wondering what you were saying, because he did lose perhaps the most important election when he was leaving as governor of Kano, and he lost to the NNPP that he even did not get as much votes, more votes than that party in the presidential election. But let us drive this down to the people of Ondo and what this means for the coming election. Are you saying that it wouldn't matter now how Governor Aiyedatiwa has performed in the past 10 months? Are you saying that the electorate will not determine who the next governor is going to be, and all of this lies in the hands of politicians who are making political calculations?
Before I talk about the performance of Governor Lucky of Ondo State, let me correct the perception that the former governor of Kano State and the national chairman of APC lost in Kano State. No, he never lost. It was a strange situation in 2023 because of the performance of the former president Muhammadu Buhari. And let me tell you that the governorship election, the candidate of APC in Kano State got close to 1 million votes. We are not talking about million naira. We are talking about 1 million votes for the candidate of APC. The margin between the NNPP and that of the APC in Kano State was very slim. The governor of Kano State defeated the candidate of APC with a very slim margin. And that shows the capacity of Dr. Umar Abdullahi Ganduje. The fact that the people of the Northwest, where the former president of Nigeria came from, were very angry with the APC at that time. Because, let me tell you one thing very well, so that Nigerians will not be misled. The fact that the road from Abuja to Kano was not constructed affected the outcome of the election and so many other reasons, which is not what we are discussing for today. So, Governor Umar, the former governor...
I hear you, Mr. Issa. But it's also important that we don't misinform the public. His party lost that election. It doesn't matter how many votes he got. The NNPP had more votes. I mean, that is accurate. That is fact, right?
The situation at that time needs to be put into consideration and to give him the credit that he deserved, that he brought about 1 million votes for the All Progressives Congress, which I have just stated why the APC lost the election. And you can see what is happening in Kano State. Virtually all the big wigs in NNPP are returning back to APC now. That is a credit to Dr. Umar Abdullahi Ganduje, and that shows the intent supported this man so that he can be able to pilot the affairs of the party so that Nigeria can move forward. So coming to your question about the performance of Governor Lucky, there is nothing to show that Governor Lucky has not done very well. He has done very well and deserves another term. I have spoken to my friends from Ondo State. I visited Ondo State sometimes back. I have been speaking with my friends, and his humility, the humility of Governor Lucky, and his desire to carry everybody around the political arrangements that will favor position of PDP is only trying to make excuses now, so that after they lose the election, they will come. They will say, "Oh, INEC did not do this. INEC did not do that." But this election is going to be a celebration because the entire people of Ondo State are coming together to support their son to continue in office.
Well, I guess we'll see how that play out in the coming weeks and in November. Political analyst Abubakar Issa Tiko, thank you so much for talking to us on the program this evening.
Thank you for having me.
And that's our show today. You can watch it again at midnight and at 6 a.m. tomorrow. I am Nifebi Okuntoye. Thanks for joining us.